This is the Anbernic RG Slide. You've probably already heard of this. You probably also remember that I said I'm never reviewing an emulation console again when the GKD Pixel 2 broke my heart with its lack of whimsy. But I'm your cool Uncle Marissa, and we're reviewing the Anbernic RG Slide. I want to take this opportunity to thank the Academy. I want to take this opportunity to just kind of outline the new format for emulation handheld reviews, because I feel like they're going to keep happening because my wonderful friends at LitNext send me emails and say, do you want to test this? And there's only so many times I can say no before something scratches an itch somewhere. Like the Anbernic RG Slide. I don't work with people who want to see my videos beforehand, so all these opinions are mine, uncensored, and subjective, dear viewer, as are all opinions. But since the main attractions and the main repellents to me for these devices has been kind of, are they innovative? Are they interesting? What are they bringing to the table, as opposed to just, do they emulate well? I would like to just have that be the focus. There are so many talented and wonderful YouTubers who do that, who showcase every single console running on it, who talk about the chipsets, who, all that. And that's just not where I am with this kind of thing. That's me with like retro game console modding, less so with these guys. So that's what we're gonna focus on. We're gonna just look at them as pieces of technology and what they bring to the table, and do they spark joy? And I suppose that's the first thing, isn't it? So why the RG Slide? Oh my god, it's so loud. The design might look familiar if you ever have seen the PSP Go, the Sony Xperia phones that had the slide up and there was a keyboard. Of course, this is more similar to a PSP Go in that it has controls. Now, Sony had a patent on that for a really long time, and that expired this summer. And so Anbernic was on it. And I thought it was really cool that they were doing something interesting, that they were creating a layout. I have to stop that, it's so loud. That they were creating a layout that was interesting. There were a lot of questions that were coming at the beginning of like, well, how big is it going to be? How powerful is it going to be? What is the point of a slide up if the screen is going to be vulnerable to damage? Because why not have the screen be hidden underneath? Which feels a bit like, oh, you weren't around for that, or you don't remember that. Only 90s kids remember anything, I've heard, which is why the rest of the world just keeps forgetting everything. You know, you walk into a room, why did I walk in here for? Ah, man, I'd remember if I was a 90s kid. Whenever I see something like this, I'm quite excited because I think it's cool to take a risk, even though they're technically copying something that's been done before, but it's cool to try something different. And so I wasn't terribly worried about all that. My main concerns were the issue with the PSP Go. That is the most common, is that there is obviously a ribbon cable connecting this half to the bottom half, and it's a very, very common thing for it to rip or deteriorate from the stress of constantly being flipped up and down. And so that's something that I think would also translate. The other issue that a lot of people were bringing out were when the chipset was revealed. Apparently that is a chipset that is not super great with higher end games, as in PS2, GameCube. And I'll be showing some footage while we talk, and we can see that that actually is a detriment to this. I'm sure that there is a way to get things working more smoothly, but I personally prefer While I will spend so many hours and pain and both physical, mental, spiritual, psychological hardware modding, I don't like messing around with software beyond like basic customization. You know, maybe pick your favorite overlay, pick your favorite theme. Like, I don't want to go in and just like have to micromanage everything for something to run. So me having issues with the higher powered games might not mean that it is not gonna work with them. It just means that out of the box, I was having trouble. And we'll see that I did try and I was still having trouble with some things. So I don't know, take it as you will. So that was another concern. And then when they revealed like their release trailer, people noticed that it was quite big. Now, if you haven't seen the Sony Xperia or the PSP Go, they're small, they're little, and they're skinny. This is hefty. This is really hefty. And I was a bit like, oh, okay. But also, don't the boys like them big? They're always complaining when things are small, like I can't hold it properly. So how did they mess that up? So it wakes on open. Took a second. But yeah, looking at the back, you'll notice the vents. It doesn't have grips, which is crazy. Like, it's so big. Give it some grips like the RG Cube. And the screws are these star-shaped screw bits, which they're less easy to strip, but they just feel a bit inaccessible and haphazard. We have our headphone jack USB-C and then the micro SD slot, which is really, really hard to get the SD card out of. My nails are longer than they've been in a while, and I struggle. Mamma mia. Trigger buttons on the top, and they're fine. They feel fine. And the power and volume are on the side. I feel like the button placement is totally fine around it. Same with the ports and stuff. That SD card slot though really sucks. When it comes to holding it, so other than the fact that it's super top heavy, the bottom half is way lighter than the top, and the way it just rests on your hands is kind of a pain. There's no grip. It's fat, but the edges are really sharp, and you have to stretch pretty far for your thumbs to get on the thumbsticks. And this is with covers. If you take the cover off, it's not only smaller, but it's slippery. So you're extending so far and not even managing to get a good grip. It's not ideal, but if we're just gonna work on the outside, the D-pad is nice, the face buttons are nice enough. They're membrane, they're nothing crazy special. I enjoy them well enough. I am a membrane fan. Another thing that I also like about it is they put these buttons here, and they're actually like functional for stuff. Like they pull up retro arch menu when you're in game. And I actually love that because it's just very intuitive for me. Sometimes the hotkey combinations, I cannot for the life of me remember. They're not intuitive to me. Although one thing I did notice in the menu is when I went to add the shader, I'm assuming that the screen they used in this device is a little funky because when you set shaders, they change where the display is. So usually that has happened in my experience when they use like a funky non-standard display type, or they don't calibrate it properly to the firmware or RetroArch or whatever. You'll also notice, because I'm noticing this right now, is that there's a pop in and out when the audio is playing or not playing. That's not great, but I had my mic plugged in directly, so that should not be so dirty. The sad thing is also that it doesn't feel like Anbernic did this in order to bring ingenuity or creativity, or dare I say my favorite word when talking about these things, whimsy, to the table. It feels like they just wanted to jump on that patent expiring before anyone else did. And that kind of sucks, especially at this price. At this price, why? There was one question that I think a lot of people were asking also of why not just create a lower powered console? Why does it have to be so high powered with that form factor? Brilliant question. Maybe it's because there's more competition there. Maybe the design would be more expensive and would put it kind of out of the running. But I think that there are those of us that still do pay extra for the novelty of certain things, for the design of certain things. So I don't think that it would have been a fruitless attempt or endeavor. The higher power games that I tried, where I tried Ridge Racer under the Wii GameCube options, and that ran fine enough. 3DS runs fine enough. I don't think this is the best display to play it on, but you'll see for PS2, I picked Devil May Cry 3, and it is... I'm trying to mess around with the settings, changed like the scaling, changed the graphics engine it's using, and it's just really laggy. I don't know if this is a particularly heavy game for it, but you know, this is the example that I mentioned early on. Also, I know that a lot of people have mentioned like, oh, maybe they'll make an XX version, which is their budget version of some of their devices, like the RG Cube. There's an RG Cube XX, which I did review the two of them as well. You can watch the video here. But with that, it was a degradation not just in the chips and stuff of like the power and it not being able to play the higher power things, but it was also they went back on a lot of build quality things that felt like this should not be that expensive to keep in the budget version. So I sort of shudder to think what an XX version of this would look like or feel like, because already it feels they wouldn't change the design to be more similar to a PSP Go or Sony Xperia. I don't imagine it being super lightweight and pocketable, you know, thinner or anything like that. I would imagine it would still be like this. Maybe it would be lighter if there's less going on in it, because this is quite heavy, but I don't see what benefits that would bring. That is the Anbernic RG Slide. A big thank you to Litnix for letting me give it a spin. I don't know what I will do with it because it's just so sad. I'm gonna review emulation consoles again sometimes, just because I want to be sad again. It just feels like such a blatant, I don't want to say cash grab, because I feel like this was an unsuccessful cash grab. They just jumped on the patent expiring without any thought. And that kind of defeats the whole idea of like, oh, risk-taking, innovation, because it's kind of looks like they didn't really put much thought into it other than console go slide. But on the plus side, I feel like I do like the buttons on the face. I do like the D-pad and face buttons. They're nice. If you like tactile buttons, you'll hate them. But if you like membrane buttons, they're pretty decent. I do think the screen is really lovely. It's quite a lovely screen. This feels like that one interview.
Taylor Swift.
Okay, great gowns, beautiful gowns.
I honestly don't know who I'd recommend it to, other than maybe a collector of things, someone who wants a piece of history of the thing that was made on the heels of the Sony patent expiring. Oh, my voice. Oh. I hope this was helpful if you are curious about the Anbernic RG Slide, in seeing what it looks like, how it functions, how it feels. Thank you again to Litnix for sending this to me and constantly keeping me one toe dipped into the emulation console scene. Thank you so much to my Ko-fi supporters. You guys' support means so much to me, and names are running down here. Thank you so much to everyone who's stuck by while I've been on hiatus for like a couple of months. I was doing some plays, and yeah, the support means like more than ever right now too, because I got laid off from my job with like a day's notice. because of company-wide restructuring. And it was a bit of like, well, I should have seen that coming because they're laying off whole departments. But yeah, so any sort of consistent support is super helpful. Even just watching this video, subscribing, liking, so that it gets on other people's front pages. And yeah, YouTube's just a pyramid scheme, isn't it? Except you make like pennies. So yeah, that would be much appreciated as well. Also, if you're on Ko-fi, you will get exclusive game reviews, ideally monthly, unless I've been playing Fantasy Life for 3 months straight, which that should be coming out soon. You'll also get blog posts and stuff. You can also follow me on other places, join the Discord, follow me on Instagram. Oh my God, you have to plug so much. And don't buy the Anbernic RG Slide. But if there's a different retro emulation device you would like to buy, and you'd like to buy it from LitNext, use my affiliate link. And that also helps. Thank you so much for watching this, and do not forget that Cool Uncle loves you. I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.